Do you ever feel that no matter how many times you clean, how many times you reorganize, your mind still feels like a tangled thread you cannot seem to unravel? Perhaps everything around you is still moving too fast, and you just want a single moment to take a slow breath, in a space that does not pressure you to do anything, that does not demand you to be anyone. I understand that feeling, because I too once lived in a house full of things, yet empty of relief. A space that had everything, but had no room to breathe. And so, I started to learn again from the beginning, learning to live with less, to see more clearly. Learning that cleaning is not just about being tidy, but about creating a place for your heart to rest. The Japanese call it danshari, the art of letting go of what is not needed. They call it ma, the intentional empty space, where tranquility is nurtured. And they live with WabiSabi, honoring the simple, the rustic, and the imperfect. In this video, I will share with you 7 ways to create a Japanese minimalist living space. Principles that will not only change your room, but may also touch the rhythm of your life, helping you to lessen the stress, to slow the rush, and to live more deeply in each small moment. You do not need to change everything. Just one thing is enough. One quiet corner, one gentle habit. And who knows, from there, you might just rediscover a version of yourself that has been sleeping, buried under the piles of stuff, the endless to-do lists, and the nameless noise. 1. Create an open layout and embrace negative space. Try closing your eyes for 5 seconds and imagine this. You open the door to your home, and instead of being greeted by a wall of furniture, you are met with a breath of air. Light glides across the wooden floor, a clear pathway ahead. A low table sits as still as the surface of a lake, and in between it all are gentle, empty spaces. The first feeling is not wow, but rather, I am finally home. The Japanese call this ma, the intentional void, like the pause between 2 musical notes that allows the melody to truly resonate. When we arrange a space with an open layout, unnecessary walls disappear, the eye can travel farther, and the mind follows, lighter. Negative space is not what is left over. It is the part that heals. It is where the eyes can rest, the heart rate slows, and the mind stops trying to decode excess information. In such a room, every object has a reason to exist, like a perfectly placed word in a short haiku. I remember the first afternoon I tried to unlock my own apartment. I did not buy anything new. I simply pulled the sofa back, removed an extra chair, and moved a shelf against the wall to create an unbroken line of sight. Suddenly, the room felt like it could breathe. The wind could travel from one window to another without getting stuck. The light drew a long line across the floor, and the kitchen, once cramped, suddenly became a place where the whole family loved to stand and talk. The open layout did not make me feel less private. It made me feel less defensive. I stopped putting up invisible barriers, allowing myself to connect with my loved ones more naturally. If you want to begin, think simply. Reduce what you can see by about 30%. Not through force, but with the spirit of danshari. Gently declining what is not needed, saying goodbye to objects kept only out of habit. Prioritize horizontal lines, a long, low shelf, 2-toned walls that guide the eye smoothly, a floor rug without a loud pattern. When the eye follows a horizontal path, the nervous system receives a signal of safety. Much like when we gaze upon a calm, flat surface of water and a sense of peace spreads within us. Low-profile furniture expands the space above, invisibly lifting the ceiling, allowing your mind to expand with it. Of course, open does not mean exposed. For those who need a private corner, you can create gentle divisions, a bamboo screen, an airy open-backed shelf, a pot of bamboo placed just right. It is still one space, but it has a rhythm. A place for conversation, a place for work, a place for afternoon tea. This is ikigai within the home. Each corner has a purpose, small yet clear. And like WabiSabi, do not demand perfection. A scratch on a wooden table, a crease in a linen curtain, they all tell the story of time that has passed with you. The goal is not a picture-perfect room, but a room that knows how to support your real life. You can apply this today with a small ritual. In the evening, clear your kitchen counter, leaving only 3 things you use every day. Tomorrow morning, pull the coffee table closer to the light, place a teapot and 2 cups upon it. Try walking around your home and listen for where it feels suffocated. That is the spot where you can remove 1 item. For 7 days, let go of 1 object each day. Each time you rearrange, take a deep breath in and let the space answer you. What else can be removed so that peace can stay a little longer? When your room has its silence, you will hear your own voice more clearly. 2. Eliminate unnecessary clutter. If you were to wake up tomorrow morning and your home only held the things that truly serve you today, do you think you would breathe differently? I remember the moment I opened my closet and for the first time, asked myself a very simple question. Am I still the person who bought this shirt? The answer came like a long sigh. It was not that the shirt was bad, it just belonged to an old version of myself that had already passed. I folded it, touched it gently as if to say thank you, and then placed it in a donation bag. As the closet door closed, in the space that had just opened up, I felt my heart become half a beat lighter. In the spirit of Danshari, we do not deny our memories, we simply refuse to let them take up space in our present. The Japanese have a way of describing simple joy. When you hold an item, do you feel a spark? If you do, keep it. If not, we honor it by allowing it to continue its life in someone else's hands, or perhaps in a photograph kept as a memento. KonMari does not teach us to throw things away, but to look deeper, between what is useful and what brings joy, which items still support our lives. When the number of choices decreases, the morning suddenly becomes as simple as a cup of tea, and the mind is no longer tired from making trivial decisions. You would be surprised to discover that you use over and over again a very small fraction of everything you own, much like the 80-20 rule we so often hear about. The rest silently drains your energy by catching your eye, demanding to be dusted, and reminding you of unfinished business. A broken blender waiting to be fixed can unintentionally anchor a feeling of failure. An unsuitable gift can make us feel indebted. When we let go, we cut those tiny threads that, though small, weigh heavily on the mind. The space brightens, and so does the mind. I started with the easy things. The kitchen counter held only the 3 cooking tools I use daily. My desk, only a notebook, a pen, and my computer. My wardrobe revolved around a few outfits that could be mixed and matched for many occasions. 1 corner a day like Kaizen, progressing millimeter by millimeter, but with persistence. I set up a 30-day purgatory box for items I was unsure about. If I did not think of them after a month, it was a clear signal. For sentimental items, I took a photo, wrote 2 sentences about their story, and then gave them away. The memory remains. The object departs. WabiSabi reminds us to accept the traces of time. A scratch on a wooden table is not a flaw, but a testament to meals shared with loved ones. Keep the things that tell the story you want to continue living. Not everyone finds it easy to let go. On days when our spirits are low, we might mistake getting rid of things for healing. Slow down. Place a hand on your chest, take a deep breath, and look at the item as if for the very first time. Shoshin, the beginner's mind. Ask 3 small questions. Does it serve my life today? Does it warm my heart? And could someone else make better use of it than I can? If 2 of the answers are yes, you already know what to do. If not, it is okay to place the item in a safe zone and come back to it later. Minimalism, after all, is not a competition, but the art of listening to yourself. When there are fewer things, the moments of Ichigo Ichi, each a unique, once-in-a-lifetime encounter, naturally reveal themselves. The afternoon sun resting on the wooden table, the sound of the kettle whistling to announce tea time, a conversation uninterrupted by things that need to be put away. Your home becomes a mirror of the values you choose: clarity, warmth, and complete presence, letting go of things to fully embrace life. 3. Use low-profile and multifunctional furniture. If, this afternoon, you were to bring your bed closer to the floor, do you think the sky inside your home would feel a little bit higher? I asked myself that very question as I sat on a hand-woven rug, my back leaning against a low cushion, a steaming teapot resting on a short wooden table. Everything was brought down a notch, and strangely, the space suddenly felt as if it had expanded. The walls stretched out, the ceiling seemed to recede, and my own breath grew longer. The Japanese have a tradition of living close to the ground, with tatami mats, low tea tables, and floor cushions. Because when you lower your line of sight, you also lower the noise of the world. Low furniture flattens the horizon line, allowing the eye to glide smoothly along a continuous horizontal plane. With no tall objects abruptly blocking the light, the room becomes like a quiet plain. The sky feels wider because the ground is gentler. And when each piece is chosen for its ability to serve multiple roles at once, tidiness is no longer a chore, but a natural consequence. A wooden platform can be a minimalist bed frame, a sofa for conversation, or a reading nook when you pull a linen curtain aside to let the sunlight stream in. An old wooden chest can be a coffee table, a place to hide blankets and pillows, and an extra seat when you have company. Every item that serves a dual purpose means one less item needs to exist. That is the intentional empty space, making way for peace. I remember the first time I replaced a high sofa with a set of thick cushions on a wooden platform. In the evening, it was a warm bed. In the morning, with the pillows neatly stacked, it became a tea corner. In the afternoon, the children would climb up to read, their legs dangling as they giggled. One space, 3 rhythms of life. Kaizen followed gently, a small adjustment each week, pulling the low table closer to the window to catch the sun, replacing a bulky floor lamp with a slender wall sconce, tucking wires into a woven basket, clearing a tall shelf to let the wall breathe. These small changes create a larger flow. The house gradually becomes lighter, and so does the mind. With multifunctional furniture, we learn to ask the right questions. Instead of, "Is this piece beautiful?" Try approaching it with Shoshin, the beginner's mind. Does this item help my day flow more smoothly? If I place it lower, will it open up more light, more seating, more breathing room? If the answer is yes, invite it to stay. If not, thank it and let it return to the world. WabiSabi also smiles here. A wooden table with tea stains, a wooden chest with a chipped corner. That is the beauty of time. When furniture sits low to the ground, the ego also softens. Instead of showing off, these pieces whisper stories of unhurried mornings, of steaming cups of tea, of conversations uninterrupted by towers of things. You can start in a very practical way. Choose one room and lower its horizon line. Swap a tall desk for a low tabletop and a floor chair in a reading corner. Remove a heavy upright cabinet and replace it with a long, low shelf that runs along the wall to guide the eye. Combine several small items into one multifunctional piece: a wooden chest, a platform, a set of nesting tables. Each time you add a new function, let go of an old item. That is the ikigai of the room. Everything exists for a clear purpose, and because of that, it is light. At the end of the day, as you sit down on the floor, your back against the warm wood, a cup of tea in your hands, you will understand. To lower your furniture is to elevate your life. 4. Choose neutral colors and natural materials. If you were to wake up tomorrow morning and the entire room had softened its voice, the walls whispering in a misty white, the wooden floor as warm as the late afternoon sun, a beige linen chair breathing softly, would you find yourself in less of a hurry? I had a morning just like that, when I took a paintbrush and applied a new coat of color to a wall that was once too loud. With just a single shade of off-white, the room suddenly opened up like a blank page waiting to be written on, and my own heart stopped trying to crowd the lines. A neutral color palette is like the grounding rhythm of a haiku. It is spare, but it supports every other tone, allowing each to rise in its proper place. When white, gray, beige, and light brown meet the light, we see the space deepen instead of becoming glaring. Place a simple oak table against a white wall and a linen curtain, and you will understand why the Japanese love wabi-sabi, the beauty of the imperfect and incomplete. The wood grain does not need to be flawless. It is the meandering lines that tell the story of time. A raw slab of stone as a side table, cool to the touch, pulls you back into your body, slowing your breath. Within this simple framework, a single green branch or a pillow the color of young tea leaves is suddenly enough to awaken the room, like a moment of ichigo ichie, an encounter that will never be repeated. I began by turning down the volume on my visual world. The brightly colored bedding was folded away, replaced with sand-colored linen. The multicolored plastic shelf was given away, making room for an old wooden chest that served as both a table and a place to store blankets. Every surface I touched, I did so with the intention of it being a natural material. Wooden handles, a rattan tea tray, a roughly woven wool rug. Strangely, when your fingertips engage in a dialogue with real materials, your mind also grows quieter. You stop performing and simply start being present. And when the backdrop is serene, the changing of seasons becomes a gentle transition. In spring, Add a few pillows and a fresh green. In winter, swap the pillowcases for earth tones and light a beeswax candle. You do not need to change the entire room, just the punctuation. Of course, neutral does not mean bland. The secret lies in the layering of textures, the smoothness of fabric, the grain of stone, the warmth of wood, the clarity of glass, like many breaths weaving together. Light, too, is a material, a warm bulb shining down on a polished wooden surface, leaving a reflection as soft as water. In the afternoon, sunlight filters through a linen curtain, sprinkling golden dust on the misty gray walls. We do not paint with loud colors. We let the light do the painting. If you want to apply this today, try a small ritual before evening falls. Choose 3 shades to be the alphabet for your home. For instance, milky white, sandy beige, and wood brown. Take a walk around and move the brightly colored plastic items from view, replacing them with tactile objects. A bamboo tray for the kitchen counter, a simple ceramic vase for the dining table, a small wool rug at the foot of your bed. Place a potted plant near a source of light. You will see how the green, set against the neutral backdrop, comes alive in the quietest way. If you are still hesitant, use Shoshin, the beginner's mind, and ask a simple question. Does this object make my breath longer or shorter? If it makes it longer, keep it. If it makes it shorter, thank it, and let it go. After a few weeks, you will realize that peace does not come from new things, but from the quiet foundation that supports your daily life. The steaming cup of tea on the wooden table, the sound of bare feet on a warm floor, a corner of a white wall waiting for the sun. And in that moment, you will understand. When the colors lower their voice, the heart begins to speak. 5. Optimize natural and artificial lighting. If tonight you were to turn off every light in your home, leaving just one small, warm source of light, do you think the room would tell you a different story? I have tried it. The soft golden glow poured onto the wooden table, the teapot breathing steam like a tiny cloud. Everything else receded into the background, and my mind, once as tangled as wires, suddenly settled into a single long breath. Light is the first language of a space. In the morning, try opening the curtains just a few minutes earlier, to let the sunlight touch the floor before your phone touches your hand. The Japanese call it ma, the intentional empty space. But with light, ma is the quiet passage that allows the sun to walk through your home. Thin curtains, like shoji paper, help turn the sunbeams into silk, softening the glare while remaining full. When natural light is filtered with care, the walls begin to speak. The soft white whispers, the wood grain answers, the green plants nod in agreement. Before you have done a thing, you can already feel yourself calming down. By midday, the light becomes sharper. Do not fight it, guide it. Move your desk to a place where the light is more diffuse, or turn your back to the sun when you need to concentrate. A linen screen drawn halfway across a window acts like a thin ribbon of cloud, scattering the light evenly instead of letting it fall in a puddle. For corners that receive little sun, place a mirror opposite a window to multiply the depth, as if opening another frame to the sky. When the floor is bright, the mind tends to be clear. When the shadows are in their proper place, you have somewhere to rest your eyes. Then, as evening falls, electric light becomes the second storyteller. Instead of one single bulb shining down from above, create a rhythm, like the 3 lines of a haiku. One source of soft, ambient light to define the room. A source of task lighting, where you need to focus, at a reading desk, over a kitchen counter, and a source of accent lighting to create motion, perhaps a stone table lamp or a wall sconce that embraces a painting you love. When light is layered, a room gains depth. When your switches have dimmers, your emotions have room to transition. Do not be afraid to turn some lights off. Silence is also a form of light. I remember changing my entire pre-sleep routine with just one small ritual. After dinner, I turn off the overhead lights, keeping only the warm table lamp on beside my reading chair. The color of the light wraps around my shoulders like a woolen scarf. The words on the page soak in more slowly, and my body understands that it is now time to quiet down. Before getting into bed, I close the curtains just enough so that the first ray of morning sun can touch my eyelids. It is an incredibly small Kaizen journey, adjusting just a little bit each day, but my sleep is deeper, and I wake up with a mind as light as a cloud. If you live in a crowded city with little natural light, there are still ways to grow sunlight indoors. Choose warm-toned bulbs for the evening, so your skin does not look washed out. so a wooden table still feels like a wooden table. Run a string of lights along a low shelf so the light glides across the surface instead of shining directly into your eyes. Place a slender floor lamp in a dark corner to let its shadow fall at an angle, like a stroke of sumi ink on a page of paper. And remember to clean your windows often, sometimes pieces blocked by nothing more than a very thin layer of dust. Finally, use Shoshin, the beginner's mind, to listen to your room each day. Does it need to be bright for work this morning, or does it need a softer voice for healing? Every moment is an Ichigo Ichi, a once-in-a-lifetime encounter between you and the light. Set your teacup down where a sunbeam is resting, and you will see. When we learn to respect the light, we also learn to respect the rhythm of our own hearts. Let the light speak softly so the heart can speak its truth. 6. Incorporate elements of nature. If, right now, you were to close your eyes and listen to your room, would you hear the quiet sound of a leaf gently touching the light? I heard that very sound one morning when I placed a pothos plant next to the window. Just that one small patch of green, and the air seemed to soften. The sound of my footsteps became gentler, and my mind, having just escaped a stream of notifications, suddenly slowed, as if savoring a sip of tea. Bringing nature into your home is not about buying as many plants as you can and scattering them everywhere. It is the art of placing the right thing in the right place with the right intention. The Japanese speak of ma, the intentional empty space, and nature is what gives that space its soul. The drape of a leaf beside a bookshelf, a tray of river stones resting silently on a wooden table, a shallow bowl of water reflecting a thin ray of sun. These are very small elements, but they open up a different rhythm for the space. When your fingertips touch the cool veins of a leaf or the wholesome surface of a stone, your body understands that this is a safe place to slow down. And so, the mind stops resisting. I started in a very ordinary corner, the kitchen sink. A small sprig of fern on a shelf, given a spoonful of water each morning like a greeting to the new day. Then came my desk. I swapped a colorful plastic pen holder for one made of bamboo and added a piece of cloudy quartz the color of mist. When my eyes grew tired, I would look over at the patch of green in the stone, and I felt as if I had just stepped out onto the porch, where the wind was drifting through a linen curtain. In the evening, I light a beeswax candle, its subtle fragrance mingling with the warm scent of wood. The room becomes a short tea ceremony with myself. Ichigo Ichi, the idea that each encounter is unique, suddenly takes form right within these four walls. Nature also teaches us WabiSabi, the acceptance of change. A leaf grows old, one falls, and all we need to do is gently pick it up, touching its faded spots as if touching a story that is slowly coming to a close. A planter with a scratch, a river stone with a chipped corner. These are not flaws, but memories. When a home has these traces, it becomes less cold, less of a beautiful thing to be admired. It lives alongside us. And with Shoshin, the beginner's mind, we learn to ask a simple question before bringing any new item into our home. Does this object make my breath longer? If it does, invite it to stay. If not, thank it and decline. Living in a crowded city, not everyone has a sunny balcony, but there are still many pathways in. You can plant nature vertically, a hanging vine in front of a window, a narrow shelf for a few small pots, a mini fish tank with 2 or 3 aquatic stems and the quietest sound of water. Do not be greedy. Kaizen tells us to progress slowly and steadily. 1 pot this week, a tray of stones the next, and then pause to listen to how the space responds. In the morning, open the curtains to let the light touch the leaves. In the evening, gently wipe the surface of the pot so that dust does not hide a shade of green that is already delicate enough. When we care for a plant, we are caring for our own presence. When we change its water, we are resetting the flow of thoughts in our own minds. And there will be a day when you are so busy that you forget to water it. That is okay. The ikigai of your nature corner is not to be perfectly cared for, but to remind you that you are still connected to something larger. Just place your hand on a leaf, apologize with a deep breath, and return to it tomorrow. Your home does not give you a score. It only reflects how you are learning to be gentle with yourself. To bring nature into your home is to bring yourself closer to your own true heartbeat. And when a single leaf quietly trembles, you will know peace is taking root right here in your living room. 7. Maintain flow between indoor and outdoor spaces. If this morning you were to open your balcony door and let the breeze drift through the room, would your home take on a different scent? The scent of wet leaves, of the sun, of freedom? I remember a morning just like that. I slid the glass door to one side, placed my teacup on the edge of the wooden table, and suddenly the boundary between the living room and the sky was just a single breath away. In Japanese philosophy, there is a beautiful space called the engawa, a strip of wooden veranda that connects the house to the garden. The engawa does not show off. It simply does its quiet work, inviting you to slow your pace, to stand for a moment and listen to the birds, to watch a leaf fall before stepping inside. When we create a small engawa for ourselves, even if it is just a windowsill or a thin rug, our home suddenly extends, lengthened by the depth of nature. The light, the wind, and the rhythm of the world outside are welcomed in like gentle guests, soothing the noise inside our heads. I started with something simple, helping the indoor and outdoor floors to meet. In front of the glass door, I laid down a rustic jute rug. Just outside was a patch of weather-resistant wood that had been darkened by the sun. When my bare feet passed over it, my skin no longer knew where the boundary was. I chose a common color palette, misty white, sandy beige, wood brown, so that the indoor plants and the porch plants seemed to be speaking the same language. At noon, I would draw the linen curtains to let the wind pass through while the light remained soft. In the evening, I would hang a warm lamp on the balcony so that when I looked out, my eyes would see a continuing story, not an abrupt wall of darkness. Seamlessness does not mean throwing everything open. It is the art of intentional openness, ma in the flow of wind, sun, and sight. A few soft vines trailing along the doorframe can guide the eyes outward without glare. A small rattan chair placed right at the door allows for breakfast to happen on that very threshold, the place where inside and outside touch. As I eat, I quietly say, "Itadakimasu," like a word of thanks addressed to the sun and rain, the earth, and the hands that brought me the bowl. That expression of gratitude makes the meal feel lighter, as if I were dining with the garden itself. There are days of pouring rain, strong winds, or when the city is too loud. On those days, we can still pull nature in through subtle cues. A vase of dried grasses, a tray of river stones holding a bit of water, a painting of a mist-covered mountain. A mirror placed at an angle to the window allows the sky to be reflected, as if opening another window. And if the space is small, create the connection through habit. Read a book at the doorway, do a few stretches on the porch. After watering the plants, stand for an extra minute and listen to the water soaking in. These small rituals slow the heart rate, as if you have just taken a short walk through a park. WabiSabi teaches us to embrace impermanence. The wood on the porch will fade, the edge of the rug will fray, the ceramic pot will develop a hairline crack. Let them be. It is these marks of time that stitch the house and the sky together into one rich tapestry. With Shoshin, the beginner's mind, each morning you open the door is like a small commencement. You see that today's sky is not the same as yesterday's. The green of the leaves is a completely different shade today. And when we take the time to repeat these simple acts, Kaizen quietly sows peace. A windy day will feel less suffocating, a busy week will feel less harsh. You can try this tonight. Clean the window pane, clear the entryway to create a small path, and place a simple wooden chair and a potted plant nearby. Wake up 5 minutes earlier tomorrow, make some tea, and sit right there, on that threshold, and watch the sky change color. You do not need a large garden or a long veranda. You just need a place where the sky can stop by for a visit. When the boundaries blur, we realize a home does not end at its walls, but continues on with the breath of the earth and sky. Now that we have walked through these 7 ways to create a Japanese minimalist space, I just invite you to pause for a few seconds and take a very deep breath. Is there a corner of your home that is coming to mind right now? A tabletop, a shelf, or perhaps a closet where you feel ready to begin this journey? Please share in the comments below. Simplifying to live better. Just that one simple sentence as a gentle reminder to yourself that you deserve a space that lets you breathe more easily each morning when you wake. You do not need to change everything in one day. Start small. One corner wiped clean, one item thanked and let go, one empty surface where the light can land. Each of these actions is a way of caring for your outer world and your inner one, because sometimes we do not need to add anything at all. We just need to take a little away, to find the peace we thought we had lost long ago. If this video helped you connect more deeply with your home and with yourself, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will continue to create videos that serve as a gentle breathing space for your mind. And I will see you in the next video, where together we will continue to learn how to live lightly, live authentically, and live with a sense of enough.